Not to mention any names, but a lot of people have been saying that industry plants are in fact
a bad thing.
It was such a big bad wolf definition that Genius has created for everybody on YouTube. I see why. And for those of you that have not heard about Genius's definition of the industry plant, it is as follows. An industry plant is an artist who has major/indie label backing their movement but presents themselves as a homegrown startup label to create a pseudo-organic following. They act as if things are miraculously happening for them based on their talent via blog coverage, media coverage, MTV playing their videos, etc. But in reality, I really don't think that the definition of an industry plant is so clean cut. And frankly, I just believe that it's a fictional term that small artists use as a coping mechanism as to why they haven't blown up and other artists have. So today we're gonna go over 3 reasons why industry plants are actually not a bad thing. And if that sounds good, make sure to stick around for the rest of the video because we're about to get into it.
No sense.
What is good, Cloudy people? Welcome back to the channel where we do rap vlogs, rap marketing, funny rap analysis, sometimes do skits. Who knows what else we do, but you don't want to miss. I already know that. So
let's get into it.
How we're going to organize this video is basically I'm going to give my reason as to why an industry plant is not bad for the so-called culture. And then I'm going to explain the misconceptions and critiques of the people who think it's really bad.
Industry plants are a bad thing.
And then following that, I will just justify why it really isn't bad and just tell them they are wrong, basically.
But
before I start, obviously you are entitled to your own opinion. Industry plants might be bad in your opinion, but I just don't think that there are many artists that fall under the strict guidelines of what Genius is saying. Reason number 1 as to why industry plants are not a bad thing for the so-called culture. Obviously, labels will pump money into small artists that we do not know. That's just the nature of the game. But I don't think it's just a random artist that a lot of people who are advocating the industry plants are bad, or a random person. I think that they see something in that person, as in a talent, a brand, an aesthetic, an attractiveness, their style, their charisma, and generally just their determination to do anything to become a famous artist, which in most cases is what labels are looking for. So as I mentioned before, the common misconception on this reason is that labels just will take a random person or something like that and just push things on them, like you're gonna wear this, you're gonna produce this music, or you're gonna get in the studio with this producer, and they completely cater to their whole life, and these people aren't original whatsoever. What I think it really is they take someone who might be super small and have no following, and they pick out one quality of that person and they say we can really build a brand out of this person. And it's just like an investment. Labels in the end are just an investor. The way an investor makes its most money is when it is an angel investor. So it basically invests in a very small asset to eventually become a huge asset and sell or just reap the benefits of this huge asset. And if they were to always invest into, say, like an XXXTentacion, who had a huge following by the time that he signed a label, they already had to pay millions and millions of dollars for XXXTentacion and his masters. But if they get a small artist, say like Iann Dior or Jumex, who had no following whatsoever but had a quality that could possibly blow up, they could only pay them like a few $1,000s or $100,000. I don't know what labels really pay artists, but it would be way less than they would have to pay, say, a Trippie Redd or X. And without labels doing such a thing, like investing in really small artists, we really wouldn't have many of the artists that we love nowadays. Say like Trippie Redd, he signed it to 10K projects way before he got clout, and Post Malone and Travis Scott. We can even go through like the whole list of artists that Genius put on their site as to examples of possible industry plants. That includes like Chance the Rapper, Travis Scott, Post Malone, these people that I just mentioned, Blueface to name another. And of course, you would never say these people didn't deserve the money that the labels pumped into them, because they're massively talented. You will not find one person in the hip hop industry that says they are not talented, whether it be in production or vocals or just songwriting in general. Reason number 2 as to why an industry plant is not necessarily bad for the culture. So a music artist nowadays, you may already know, and I even mentioned it in prior videos, an artist is not just a musician anymore. They are an entertainer. They are a celebrity. We are invested in all aspects of their lives, not just their music. In some cases, we don't even care about their music. For example, Lil Pump, like his album flopped, but we still love him and follow him on Instagram just because of his antics and just the dumb shit he says online. The critique that I related to this reason is that labels manufacture a star artist by fabricating a whole image image and hit making formula and collaborate them with top of the line producer and production to just exploit a contemporary trend and basically ride the wave and just make money off of a very short-term goal. And whereas I may or may not agree with this, I really don't think it's that important. Even without a label, artists do this exact thing just to ride someone else's wave to get clout, and then they change up their appearance and sound once the wave is over, or at least they attempt to. Take a look at Icy Narco. He basically copied the whole swag of Lil Pump. They're actually from the same area, and it all happened at generally the same time, and they even had the same management, so you could even call him an industry plant. But again, that's not important because artists are brands and entertainers. We love them for what they do outside of just the music. To be more specific, I'm not saying that the music is not important, because it is. It's at the forefront of a brand. However, there have been instances where an artist has basically just stopped making music entirely just because their personality is taken over and they just frankly didn't want to be a musician. Take a look at Rihanna. She doesn't even make music anymore. She did not even write her songs or contribute to any part of the song making process other than just going into the studio when they asked her to and singing the song how they wanted her to. She didn't even fluctuate her voice in the way she wanted to, or she didn't even care. Jay-Z actually wrote many of her songs. But you do not see anyone hating on Rihanna for this fact, because we love Rihanna for who she is, not necessarily just the music, even though she was fabricated by her whole label and she was frankly pop. So that's just a normal thing in pop. And hip hop nowadays is pop, or at least is becoming, because it is the most popular genre and that's what pop music stands for. But just to sum up this whole confusing rant that I just went over, these so-called industry plants aren't just musicians. They are just entertainers and essentially just walking brands that we like to tap into their lives and watch them just grow as people. And so the music is really just at the forefront. It might not necessarily be the whole point of their brand. Lil Pump, I know you think of him as a rapper, but really it's his antics, and that's why people love him, and he gets sponsorship deals and goes to shows because of his personality. His music is simple and elementary at best. Without his personality, he would not have gotten that far. So without his label backing him and getting him to as big as he was, there would not be another Lil Pump in that situation doing the exact same thing as him and entertaining us with his antics. And I don't know about you, but if I didn't have a Lil Pump, I really wouldn't know what to do with my life on Instagram. And reason number 3, and lastly, as to why industry plants are not necessarily a bad thing, is that they actually just make great music. What is wrong with labels matching up producers and other high quality features and large artists and putting everyone in the same room with a new person to make great music? Just because someone isn't a musician at heart and maybe doesn't know essentials of music or whatnot, they might have creative ideas and unorthodox ways of fluctuating their voice and things like that to make a great song. And again, personality can also factor into this. With Cardi B's ad-libs, for example, she may not be the best rapper or musician, but her ad-libs and her personality are what makes the song. In addition, her past as being a stripper gives the songwriters content to write about, and we all love it and relate to it in some manner or the other. Maybe not me, but girls that have been strippers love that. And the misconception or critique that labels inorganically push collaborations with top-end producers and collaborators like big features to create formulated music that isn't even good, it's just fitting the mold, and then pushing inorganic traffic through advertisements on big media outlets to influence the mass public. And what I have to say in response to this exactly is that nothing can really force you to like a song. There are songs on the radio that I hate. Actually, I don't listen to the radio specifically because they always play the same songs, but the average person does listen to the radio. But just because a song is played and is everywhere does not mean they will like it. In fact, it might make them not like it because it's everywhere. And I agree that social proof can factor into someone liking it, in that if the radio is playing it a lot, then people will think that that's the hot song, or if the song has a lot of views on YouTube or SoundCloud or something like that, then it will make someone more inclined to give the song another chance or like the song even. But we're in the underground community and we don't care about that stuff. So I would think that we all consider ourselves woke people and don't really care about other people's opinions and actually sonically judge the song based on our opinion. And for example, Iann Dior has been said to be an industry plant, but his music in the underground community has actually been praised. So So if he's making good music with Nick Mira and Taz Taylor, and a large percentage of the underground community is saying that they like his music, then why is it such an issue? Additionally, hip-hop in general is a team sport. No matter what, all of the biggest artists are going to team up with the biggest producers or collab and feature with other really big artists. So why can't a small artist do the same thing out of love or money? People pay for features all the time. I mean, almost every good song on a Spotify playlist or on SoundCloud is popping because it has a big feature on it or it has really good production. Imagine if Playboi Carti didn't have the same production from Pierre Bourne that he does now, and he was just like doing ad-libs all over a track of like some type beat on YouTube. Not saying that type beats on YouTube are bad per se, but it just might not have the same synergy that him and Pierre Bourne have. So that about wraps up the 3 reasons as to why industry plants are not actually bad for the industry and culture. If you like the video, like it, because I know all the dislikes are gonna flow in because everybody hates industry plants for some reason. But in conclusion, I really don't think that there's such thing as an industry plant as severe as what Genius is saying, because no investor or large label is going to just take a random person out of a crowd and say, we're gonna pump money into you and put face tats and color your hair without seeing any sort of talent or money in them. And with that, I will see you on the next video. Peace out, cloudy people.
You know what I'm saying?